And before we begin, would you like them to hold off on their questions towards the end or kind of like ask you as you're going through?
We're gonna hit it during the chat, but I'll have a lot of questions for the chat, and then we'll answer any questions folks have after. Yeah, I think that's an easier route.
Yeah, that's probably better.
Yeah.
Okay. So just guys, if you have questions, just either write them on the chat or just hold off until towards the end, and then you'll have plenty of time to ask him questions.
Yeah, and some of this is going to be pretty interactive. So I'll explain. I threw out my whole agenda about 20 minutes ago. I'll explain why.
We'll wait another minute or two and then we'll start it because I see more people joining.
Yeah, that's fine. That's great.
Thank you.
I was going to use my walking treadmill during this, but I didn't want to pant in front of everyone, so I'll not use that.
Hey, Bob, are you on with Glen? He's really good. Glen,
Yeah, no, I will get on there and then I'm doing a couple of things right now.
I need them to talk to my wife.
We have about 44 agents, Glenn, so if you want to start, go ahead.
All right, cool.
You.
So getting started, I had I'll call it an elaborate set of predefined content to do today. And I was having a discussion with someone in the office, and they asked a question about when I do a lot of listings, and do I send out, or do we as a team have a listing instruction sheet? And I had said, hell no, that totally limits creativity. Like you're telling them the offer you want, opposed to them coming with this creative offer, and we don't do it. And I said that's the reason why I'm selling at 118% of list, of list price. That's why I'm the #1 agent in Boot. And that's why, I went down the list. I'm thinking to myself, my God, I was about to do that to these folks on the call. I'm about to box them in to use AI the way that I'm telling them to use AI. And that is not what it is about. So this session, I threw out all of my preconceived notions. And I'm going to show you some stuff. And some of it might be even considered a little bit vulnerable because I'm asking for ways to market against myself, right? So the questions we ask AI, we have to be very good at asking questions. And I got a message from someone asking to create a postcard with AI. And when I went through, I thought about it, and I had said to myself, let me tell everyone on the call not to do that. And also let me tell everyone on the call not to do certain things with AI. And I'll explain why, and then I'll give you, of course, the counter to that is a really cool place to get postcards. So I'll tell you that. So it's not a spoiler alert. So when AI is meant to amplify us, right? But when you tell it, create me a postcard, it's going to create the most generic looking non-us postcard on earth. No matter what we do right now, it's going to create that. But there are plenty of solutions out there that you can, I came from the accounting and finance background. We called CPAs cut, paste, and assemble. So it was you take someone else's thing, you paste it in, and then you assemble it and call it yours. And that's what a CPA does. So I look at it and say, go out and get a really awesome template and have AI modify it if you need to. So for postcards and things like that, that is not the optimal scenario. Anyone that's looked on social media, you can just put in the chat, give me a thumbs up or something. If you see a social media post that has an image from AI, do you not realize it's AI? Does anyone here get fooled by AI on an image? Or do you look at it and go, oh, that's an AI generated image most of the time, right? It almost always looks the same. It's just like cars in a wind tunnel. When they all go in, they're all going to come out looking kind of the same. And that's the last thing we want to do as realtors, right? So my suggestion to you is you have to use it as an amplifier. Everything we're going to do is going to talk about amplification. If you're an individual agent, there is no better tool that's ever been created in real estate history than AI. You are about to become a marketing machine without having to have a full staff to do it. So a couple of things. One is we kind of requested to say, what kind of marketing stuff would you want to create using AI? And I only got one email, and that was a postcard. So I'm going to answer the email question, and then I'm going to ask that you put in the chat, what marketing things would you want to do with AI? Just put down a couple of words of what you want. And I'm going to show you something on the screen real quick. Are you guys seeing my screen with the postcards up there?
Yes.
Okay, so my suggestion, I've looked high and low. I don't send a ton of postcards, but when I do, I always use Wise Pelican. The quality of the cards, the creativity of the cards, and the way they look is just a leap above the rest. They have a feel. They don't look like the generic print shop that's local. The coolest part is you can do one card, you can do 1,000 cards. The more you do, the less it costs. You can look at the pricing online when you create it. But I find that these are the most effective cards I've ever used. I always get a response, usually one per mailing, and they're very consistent. And they just have a tendency to be really responsive, cool looking cards that don't go into the garbage. So to answer the AI question, I would say do not create it with AI. Maybe grab one of these and modify them a little bit. And there's your answer for AI. So, okay, drip campaigns was one, and connect clients who are ready to pull the trigger. Does anyone on the call have a marketplace that they have an agent that is the leading agent and they want to take that marketplace over, or they want to gain market share there? I would imagine hopefully everyone does, right? Okay, so let's start at the beginning of where marketing starts, right? It starts with a plan. And the plan has to be something that's relevant to competing with somebody. So I asked ChatGPT a question. Now remember, ChatGPT is pulling this from the internet, so not all sources are 100% reputable. So you have to really dig in. But I asked ChatGPT about me because I know this is going to be published on YouTube. I didn't want to grab a competitor and potentially have any things that were said wrong. So I asked the question, give me detailed information about Glen Baker, the realtor, and how his team markets, holds events, and presence on social media. If I was building a business plan to compete with Glen in his primary markets, what would I need to do to compete? Based on this information, find weaknesses in how Glen, that's my vulnerability part, because you're going to see I have weaknesses, in how Glen markets, and design a plan around how I can use those to my competitive advantage. I literally just kind of went on with all the things that were in my head right there, but it is pretty detailed. And this is the reason why I did not prescribe a marketing tactic for this call, because we have to ask the questions the way that we would do it if we're attacking the market. And when I asked this question, it brought up Glen and Glenda Davis, who is a very popular realtor, right? And it pulled both of our pictures up. But it really only does have my information here. It likened the names together. And then if I scroll down here, here's what's most interesting. So it says my digital presence is good. It says I'm on LinkedIn in a professional manner. My recommendation for anybody who is watching this is, remember, LinkedIn is not your classic social media. We do not care, and I say we because I was a corporate guy who used LinkedIn religiously at one time. We do not care about your local listing that just went online. That is not a good post for LinkedIn. It hurts you. It actually hurts you in rankings. It hurts you, everything you're doing. Now, if you're going to give your market insights, oh, heck yes. You can do that all day long. Do it. And if you're saying, the New Jersey market's on fire, here are the reasons why, here's things and considerations, those are great. But your local, just sold, just listed, really bad form on LinkedIn. It's considered a really not a good thing. And it hurts you for sure. Just a little piece of advice. Team structure. So it tells about my team structure. It knows where I'm expanding. So it knows where I am, which is New Jersey and Massachusetts. And it knows I have Delaware and Florida in the mix coming, right? On top of that, it talks about my community engagement, but then it gets to here. And this is so interesting because our hardest part for us is to be honest with ourselves, right? So when I said, tell me the weaknesses in how Glen Baker markets, I asked the question very specifically, like I was an outsider. I wasn't Glen Baker. I was Glen Baker an agent asking the question about Glen Baker. And it came back and it said limited video content. Now, anyone that knows me knows I do a ton of video, and I still am considered not doing enough. That should probably send a message to you. I'll talk about that in a minute in terms of content. The second is I have inconsistent branding across platforms. So it's saying that and I can tell you what, it's right. It's 100% right, because I do a lot of personal posts blended with real estate. It's my thing, but it is not good at all for searching. So when Google goes out and searches and others, when I go off brand, when I talk about my fitness piece opposed to my real estate piece, it actually is hurting me. So this is being honest and very frankly, something I've been thinking about for a while in how I can fix this. So it's telling the weakness in my branding, right? And it also says I'm underutilizing certain platforms, which is TikTok and YouTube. And I 100% agree with it, that I'm not using those the way that I should. But then it creates a plan based on it. So now let me just tell why I'm going through this. Think about your marketplace. the agent that you want to unseat from the #1 position. The first step in marketing is to have a plan. If you type in the exact prompt, which I had up at the top of this form, which you can see, and I'll paste it over into the everyone window here. When you use that prompt and plug in that name, it's going to tell you about them. But you don't have to stop there. You can continue to dig, right? And what it's done is it tells me what I need to do. Enhance a digital presence if I want to beat Glenn. I want to do more video marketing. Develop a strong brand, right? And if my brand has weaknesses, market against those, right? And then use the developing platforms, right? The ones that are out there like TikTok and such. It looks like TikTok's here to stay, so I probably will make my way over there. I can assure you, you will not see me dancing. So, but on YouTube as well is another one. So, and then deepen my involvement in community events. I used to be the community event guy, but I haven't done them a lot lately. I used to do them like crazy, but this is literally telling me the things that I should have been doing or the things that I'm doing and doing wrong. So if you want to run this against yourself, it's a heck of a way to start your marketing, right? So now I'm just going to take that and go on a tangent with the things that are going to work, right? So for instance, if I was going to create a drip campaign, right? And I'm going to call it a 12-step to start, right? I would have to know what I'm targeting. So if you could put in the chat, what are you targeting? Is it buyers, sellers, investors, first-time home buyers, downsizers? You got to give me a little bit more and I can help you with the drip campaign piece. And then connecting with clients who are ready to pull the trigger. So that's a good one. So LinkedIn, social media, LinkedIn is the social media of the rich. And you are right. Whoever said LinkedIn is the social media of the rich. So let me just put this in perspective. I had a pretty solid, I'll go back to that while I'm waiting for the answer on the drip campaign. I had a really solid corporate run. I started and sold 3 different companies, right? My last one for $91 million. And when I was in that business, LinkedIn was my source for people to do homework on me. LinkedIn has a plugin that tells you how to sell to people. It literally tells you how a person's personality is. They want direct communications, things like that. There are tools that plug in. And when you say it's social media of the rich, if I put up a LinkedIn post, my corporate sphere ends up in at least $1 million deal for every LinkedIn post. If you go back and see how many LinkedIn posts I do, it's very few because I'm calculated. It's not, hey, look at my new listing. My corporate execs that I work with, the C-level suite that I work with, does not care about my $400,000 listing in Boonton, New Jersey. But they do care that I'm a knowledge broker. So when you talk about LinkedIn, I'm telling you, there's pure money in LinkedIn if you use it right. You have to think bigger than the local real estate agent. So for the drip campaign, attracting more people to my open house events. Love it. Okay, and I'm a huge open houser, so you've picked the right topic. Okay, so now let's talk about this. So I'm going to act like it's in my community, okay? Because I'm just going to ask the question the way that I would. So I'm going to basically start a new chat, and I'm going to say, let me see if it does this. I would like to create a drip campaign for an open house that I have in Boonton, New Jersey. I'd like it to be 12 steps. I want it to be informative, of value, and also include things like mega open house things that I could do, ways that I could invite people to entice them to come to the open house, and also ways that all the neighbors will know that I own the neighborhood. I like to talk to ChatGPT. I don't like typing, if you can tell. So give it a minute and it will go ahead. It's looking back, understanding my content, and now it's going to start to create my campaign, and it'll likely break it down into the 12 steps. Notice it doesn't use boasts, it doesn't use quaint, it doesn't use all those different words that I've taught it not to use. So basically, it's created the starting point. I consider this a starting point for me. So the pre-launch buzz, it's telling you the email and text subject line, something big's coming to Boonton. Not a bad one, right? Because I have to tell you, every time I get an email on a Thursday and Friday about come to my open house, I'm like, like there's no grab to that. It's for me, it's how do I sort it to my spam, right? But if I saw something that said something big is coming to Boonton, I'm pretty darn likely to look at it, right? So now it's created a really cool starting point. You need to enhance these and flesh these out. But what it's done is it's created a timeline leading up to it. And I can take each of these and say, for step one, create a social media post with call to action that ensures people understand how great this pre-launch buzz is. I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to go to the bottom for a second. Oop. Hit send. There we go. Okay. And I even spelled it wrong. Okay. So now, not officially listed yet, but I'm giving the VIPs first access. Just want to point out, everyone should know what their local real estate rules are. If this is 24 hours before, you are absolutely good. This is not a good post for 6 to 7 days before. I stress this because as good as all of the ChatGPT is, the moment you post it, you are responsible for whatever you post. You can't blame it on ChatGPT. So in this instance, this would be okay to put up a day before, 24 hours, within 24 hours, but it would not be okay to put up before that. Now, if you wanted to keep it generic, you could say, I have a crazy one coming. And here's a little tip. Anyone follow Shrivastan from Reel? Anyone ever see Shrivastan from Reel? So Shrivastan has this really cool thing that they do. They go out, and when you get your listing and you're like, yes, I got my listing, I got my paperwork, I got all my photos set up, they take that and basically send an email out to their entire database of everyone that's a buyer. And they say, hey, I have a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath ranch coming available in whatever town. Any interest in it? They don't say an address. They don't say anything about the home, but they send the email out. And then he gathers up all that information, pre-listing appointment. In other words, a person calls you and says, I want you to list my house, come in to give me a listing presentation. He sends that email out before he goes to the listing presentation. If he gets 5 replies, then he goes to the listing presentation and says, hey, I've got 5 people super interested in your home already, right? Pretty cool tactic. You can use ChatGPT to draft emails to do that, right? So this created the social media post for me. Now, all of my social media always has hashtags and emojis that I've predefined. So because ChatGPT knows me, and because I do so much with it, it knows how to create that, and it's created this for me. So now I have a social media and an email campaign. Now, create a compelling phone script that isn't annoying, doesn't sound like a solar salesperson, and someone would like to actually talk to me about related to the above launch. So ring, ring. Hey, I'll keep it quick. I'm just reaching out about a launch on a property in Boonton that I think is going to grab a lot of attention, right? It hits it right away. It's not, hi, this is Glenn from Remax. Click, like everyone gets, right? And the reason that it does this is I've taught it not to do scripts that announce my name, because I don't know about everyone. Oh, it's still listening. I don't know about everyone else, but when you announce your name, does anyone notice that your phone call usually goes south? I don't know anyone that's been like, yes, I'm so glad that a realtor called me this morning. I'm hoping the next call is a solar salesman. Nobody wants that. But the moment you start to engage differently and use the words differently, and you can go out and search things. Every single person's got some shtick they're selling on YouTube regarding conversations, but you need to tell it what you want it to say. So ChatGPT is constantly learning. It's in a learning mode. You have to be at the $20 recurring monthly subscription to make that work, by the way. But once it's in that learning mode, you're able to really train it to be you. So I'm creating a phone script. Now, I will tell you, I don't love all of their content here. This is very verbose. My calls are 2 lines. I have ADHD galore. So my calls is like Ritalin room. So I try to make it as fast and as to the point as possible. But I would take this and I can say to it, make this a 2-sentence convo. Sentence convo. Now, have you noticed I'm constantly continuing to prompt? Here's what I have to tell you, and the whole reason why I blew out the script from this morning. The moment you start to eliminate possibilities of questions, you're eliminating the capability of ChatGPT to do what it's going to do. And I'm going to harken back to our very first part of this conversation. The reason I don't give listing highest and best instructions is because I get the best offers because I don't put them in a box. The moment you start issuing instructions, aren't we all in real estate because we don't like rules? Like, I mean, we have to deal with some rules, like please, Fran, don't have a stroke. But we don't want to. We have rules. But my point is that we don't fit into those boxes. And if you're automatically creating this rigid list of how the offer, if you have to tell me as an agent to submit it as one PDF, I've lost the deal already, right? Quite frankly. So I don't need those instructions. And the same thing goes for ChatGPT. So important. If you're in ChatGPT, ask the question and then ask it the opposite way. For instance, I've just created this whole open house thing, right? What risks do I have with this approach and how could I do it better? You have to ask questions that are going to challenge you. Don't look for the yes person. Look for the person that's going to challenge you and say, do things. So here it is. It could sound like a pitch without context. Absolutely can. So here's something, I'll give you an example of what I do. When I put up a new listing in a neighborhood, I call homes all around it. I'm hoping others do the same. When I call the homes around it, do you think I call them and go, hi, I have a new listing on 123 Banana Street. I just want to tell you about. That would be completely out of character for me, right? What I do is I call and I go, hey, I just want to let you know, I have a sign in the front lawn of the house next door. I'm going to apologize in advance. You're going to see a bunch of cars coming through the neighborhood. I call them slow rollers. They're not stalking you. They're not stealing anything. They're curious about the new home in the neighborhood. It should be off the market soon. I'll let you know once it is. That is a very different call than hi, I'm just calling to let you know and invite you to my open house next door. What I'm sending a message to them is, every single car in your neighborhood is now neurologistically attached to me. You know the BMW thing? I have a BMW. Now everyone has a BMW on the road. I see them everywhere. I've now told them every single slow rolling car in their neighborhood is attributed to me. So I am the craziest, best agent they've ever heard because every car in their neighborhood is now mine, right? That ChatGPT can't do it. You have to train it to use the conversation differently. So if you don't deliver with the context of it properly, it will totally mess it up. Now here is a good one, right? I've helped a few families on the street, whatever it is, got a new listing coming, and I'm giving a few people early access before we go public. So if you have an exclusive, that's a great conversation to have, right? But make it about market awareness, make it about things that are of value, not just letting you know, right? Value is what we get paid for. We don't get paid for anything other than value. It's a value exchange. That's why we get paid, right? So you have to use ChatGPT to do the counter of that. So now how to do it better? Hey, I'm the one who's been working with that spot on Boom Street with all the activity. Very similar to me. Did you notice that I didn't even scroll down yet and I was telling you how I do it, but it knows ChatGPT literally created my script from this script because it knows me so well. We're inviting a few locals. It's kind of a first look club for the neighborhood. If you're doing an exclusive, it's pretty cool for the neighbors. If you haven't done that, that's a neat thing to do sometimes. And then you can pair it with an offering of some type, make it sticky. You have to ask the questions. Too many people just go in and say, create me a social media post with hashtags and emojis for the new listing at 32 Dorian Road. That's what most people are typing. And you know what happens when that happens? Whoops, sorry. I forgot to hit enter twice. What happens is it looks like everybody else's post. And you don't want that. You want to look different, right? So sellers in the farm is one that just came up. Let me see if I missed any here. Yeah, sellers in the farm. Okay, so I'm going to use the farm because I know what that farm is. What are things that interest sellers in Rockaway Township and could potentially motivate them to sell their homes? I don't know the question to ask, so I'm asking a very generic question to start. And this is coming from our chat, by the way. Okay, so equity opportunity, everyone knows this, right? Most people don't know what their crazy number is on their home. Super way. Should I cash out when it's high? When is high, right? I can tell you a bunch of states are going, oh boy, because they have a 20% price reduction. It's no longer high, right? Downsizing is another option. Are they downsizing? Property tax pressure. Taxes are a great conversation. Are the taxes hurting you? Did you know your home's value is worth way more? And then there's a ton of good options here. And I'm just going to go down here and to catch their attention, how much is your home really worth? That's a pretty generic statement, right? Everyone hears that. So I'm going to say, what are other ways to ask someone their equity analysis and how much do they really think their home is worth? Let's see what it comes up with. Love the first one. And here's why. Everyone's curious about their neighbors, right? Everyone always sees the neighbor's house come up and is curious. If an offer came in tomorrow, what number would make you say yes? That's a great one because it's not really not a push, right? So here, this list is pretty damn good. Better than I thought it was going to be. Have you noticed that I ask a question then follow up with another question? It's never ever the first blush. So if you are in ChatGPT and you enter a question and then you stop at that and it's your first question, you probably haven't gone far enough. Okay, you have to keep asking questions. So market aware is a kind of cool one that it came up with. And Catherine, I'm kind of answering your questions here. Attracting more people to my open house. Okay. And I'll do one more real quick as we do that. But as you can see, this list is bringing up really great stuff. And then I'm not asking if you're selling. I'm just offering to give you the same information appraisers and buyers are using right now. Want a copy? That wouldn't be a terrible one either. Probably I'd deliver that in a video message. It's a little bit verbose. If you're not planning to move, knowing an updated home value can help with financial planning, right? Pretty cool. You could offer a 10-step guide. You can offer a monthly email on their value. Tons of different ways to do that. The bigger point here is if I was to latch on to any of these, so for instance, if I was to take this one, give me a phone script for this one. Oh, my fingers are not working today. Script for this one. All right, phone. Let me just turn off my audio. So I would totally kill this one. I would not say that. It goes to point out why ChatGPT. I'm calling locally homeowners with a quick question. Do you have any idea how much equity your home has built up lately? I would probably also add in something along the lines of one of the homes, right? So I would tell them, hey, XYZ home went for 125%. I picked the highest home on earth that went above asking and tell them that. And then it basically is giving you each of the counters and correspondences that come along with it. This is, if you were to build a marketing plan, and I know there's some team leaders on this, and you were to say, hey, I did this many deals last year and I want to do this many deals this year, how do I do it? You could technically upload your data. So an example was when the person who asked me to do the postcards, I went in and I downloaded from the MLS a spreadsheet. And the spreadsheet literally had all of the data related to Booton sales. So when I went in, I'll start a new chat. I had this spreadsheet that I got, and I drop it into the chat. And basically, analyze this spreadsheet and give me some sales data for the town of Booton. Okay, it spells Booton wrong. It says Putin instead of Booton, and we are not Russian czars. So there we go. So I'll let that go for a second. And let me just see here. Chat, can chat access which neighbors are on the do not call lists? No. So it can't go out and find that. Solutions like Mojo and others will do it. But I always, I caution. So if you're selling something, the do not call list is very applicable. If you're not selling something, it's a different story. So I could tell you that tried and tested is my call to say, hey, I'm just letting you know that there's going to be traffic in the neighborhood. There is no sales at all to that pitch. And it's a conversation. You're planting a seed for when they see your sign for the next 60 days, they're going to know that you own the presence in the neighborhood. So I call every single number in that neighborhood because I'm not selling a darn thing. All I'm doing is a public safety announcement, right? Keep your kids out of the street because I'm going to be rocking cars up and down it. So my point, and this is a pretty cool summary, by the way, that came up. So my point is, use the solutions like Vulcan, Mojo. There's a whole bunch of them out there. I use Mojo myself. If you were looking to attract people to your open house, my suggestion is that one, you grab some of your past social medias and other marketing you do. You can upload 10 documents into ChatGPT. Tell it to look at those 10 documents and tell me how I've created the marketing for those. And I would suggest you put your best cases in, right? Don't put the marketing ones that stunk, put the ones that got people there. Like the time I had the mariachi band and margarita machine, I want to tell it that one, right? That's an open house to remember. The time I had the food truck, the time I had the two, what do you call it? Rolls Royces in the driveway. That was the one that I want to use, right? Not the one that was the $300,000 listing that had 5 people coming to see if they could get it for 200, right? That's not what you're trying to do. So if you upload those and say, how do I create a captivating and engaging with a call to action? I always end all my stuff with a call to action. If you're creating a marketing material, you got to have a call to action. CTA, always have that. So that's my suggestion on how to attract more people to open houses. The other thing is that if you went in to the MLS and you export the week's listings for open houses, which you can do. Almost all MLSs allow you to export what open houses are for the weekend, right? You bring up the open house list, you export it. You can ask it, what is the best time to have an open house that overlaps slightly with other open houses, but mine is the only one at that time? And it'll analyze all the open houses in your local area that you've selected from the MLS and tell you the best time to do it. So you have a little bit of overlap so that people will come from theirs to yours, right? Pretty cool idea. Really easy ways to go about it. Having an exclusive time frame really does work pretty well. All right, I'm gonna stop and answer questions. Oh, and I just to say on the screen here, you can see I loaded the MLS for the last 12 months for Booten. It came up with a summary of how many sales there were, how the average sale price to list ratio, days on market, and so on and so forth. Now, if I went in and I say for agent 304797, which is my number, what is your sales to list ratio? I think it'll come up and say I have 21 listings and 118% of sales price and whatever it is. And you can start to use that to hone in on people and pick your competitors. If you want to know your top 2 competitors, you can put it in here and drop your MLS data into the ChatGPT and say, who are the top 3 agents in my market? And then you can start to deduce the other stuff we learn on other sessions. Go out and start searching and say, how do these agents market? How do these agents do their business? Okay, I'll shut up now. Ask questions.
Not
None?
everyone at once. Come on, I know you guys have questions. Those that were writing on the chat, feel free. This is your chance to ask Glenn.
Is anyone using ChatGPT in this capacity today? Probably not. So a really important part of our business, right? We all say we're entrepreneurs, we get up every morning and we're unemployed until we earn something, right? I get all that. But part of being in business is understanding your competitors. And I often find that is the thing. Like when I started to do the homework on my competitors, I realized how easy they were to beat because their sophistication level was so low, right? And when I move into a market, I do a new market every 12 months, right? And when I go into that market, I go right at that market. I go for the agent. I don't play around. I know how they market. I look back in our database to see if we did a deal. I see what commission rates they're throwing out because I have agents that are doing 1.5%, and I need to know what they're doing to compete against them, right? I'm not willing to do that. I don't work for free. I don't get out of bed for 1.5%. So my point is, I want to know what's important in that market. Why are people buying? What are the dynamics? What's the demographics of the market, right? What are the restaurants in the area? Restaurants dictate population. People like to eat the foods that they have, right? And it's cultural, it's everything. This isn't bias. You're not being biased. You're going in and doing homework on a marketplace, right? And then what you do with it, do it ethically, do it correctly. So and let's see, I saw what social medias do I like to promote? So social media is interesting. I call it an age-based tribe. My tribe is 100%, well, not 100%, largely on Facebook. My tribe is very strong on Facebook. My Instagram is okay. I'm not proud of it. I think it could be a lot better. And in particular, I will tell you that listing pictures, meaning putting up a picture of a listing and saying, come to my open house, are my absolutely lowest engaging posts I have. When I do a reel, like you can go look, if you look at the current reel that I just did on the home that I listed on my social, that one is off the charts. It's killing it. It's a reel, it's a minute and a half long, cool house, best marketing material that's been put out in Boot ever. I can say it with great confidence. And that in particular is drawing a huge amount of visibility, right? But it just regular old, hey, I just posted a new listing. The engagement level, in fact, sometimes it even hurts my engagement when I put those up. When I put something up pretty dramatically, like what can you get for this price in the town, or here's what $600,000 gets you in Booton, that is a much more engaging post. And then I don't ever put the address or the price. Someone asked if I could show the video. I'm happy to if you guys want to hang on. I have a little bit of time. I'm willing to hang out. Give me one sec here. I'll share it out. You're seeing my screen, right? Okay. So I'll hit pause for a second there because I want to just give you some context, and I want to show you one other quick one, which was my highest engaged one ever. I just have to find it. The you notice a couple things. Yes, it is on my business and on my personal, and I'll maybe I'll even cover that for a second because I always get questions like that. You'll notice there's something about it, right? I'm not actually in it anymore. I used to always be. And I realized that I'm kind of ugly. People don't want to see me, right? They want to see the house. They want to see a wow right out of the gate. The first 3 seconds are what matter. And when you go, hey, it's Glen Baker from the Morris Agent team, that is 100% about me. It's not about who my prospecting client is. So I've stopped it completely. And my engagement has gone up since I've done so. And I think that the answer here is, like, look at this one. This one is like just, this is engaging. Lakefront living at its best. This kitchen is completely ready for entertaining. Huge slab center island. We've got stainless steel appliances, 6-burner stove. It's just screaming entertain with me. Can you imagine waking up to just this view? Incredible. And then grab your morning coffee, head out here. That's living. Unbelievable. So, so the question was that, do I put this on my business page? Anything that goes on my business page, I always share back to my personal. My tribe is on my personal page. And if you noticed, it says that it's confused. ChatGPT said it's confused. And we're going to cover how you get ChatGPT unconfused about you in future sessions. The reason is that your business page is terrific. It's great for social media and having just that content and keeping it very, very religiously real estate. But your personal page is where most of your contacts will be, right? Because you have to opt into your business page. So I'll put it up on here. What I want to say is, remember the rules, all these rules we've told ourselves. Like I purposely threw out all the scripts I had today because I realized that it would have bound everyone up and they wouldn't have thought creatively about how to ask questions at ChatGPT. The same rule goes for these videos. I walked into this house and did the pictures, and then I go, this is a pretty cool party house. And I said to the person, hey, can I bring a party back here tonight? He goes, what do you mean? I go, you could be at the party. I'll bring the beer. I'll bring the people, but I got to do a lifestyle video here. That's the questions that'll make the difference for us. We have to be able to do that and just do it, right? Don't even think about it. And like, if you look at this, we had a party in his backyard. So you'll see it. We literally brought people and we were playing that ring game. I don't know what it's called and stuff. But this one, I got calls from all over the globe of people asking where it was because they wanted to be on the water and do it, right? So my suggestion to you is that one, hit the tribe that you want to hit. You've got to be very intentional. ChatGPT will not be intentional unless you are intentional. And what I mean by that is you can't just say, put this open house together, right? You have to say something a little more specific. Put the open house together for buyers looking for homes in this price range who are doing X, right? Do it whether it's first time buyers, whether it's downsizers. Be very specific because it will create a targeted message to them. Specificity wins. The world is so generic that everything that we put out that's generic just gets passed by. Think of everything that you glance by in your inbox, right? It's because we have too much content in the world right now. You've got to be different. And if you're not different, and ChatGPT helps you be different, but you got to then execute on it. Your
Hey,
mic,
Glenn,
hard to hear you.
if I
Oh,
could
my
just,
mic's gone?
Glenn,
you got-
there's a question from Robert Garver.
Yes. I must have missed it. Where is it here?
no, I didn't type it. I'm just talking.
Okay.
We've talked in the past about the importance of knowing the people that you're interacting with, perhaps, other agents or whatever. I would imagine that this would be a tremendous source of information when you're about to enter into negotiations with other agents, um, you know, probably in a multi-bid situation that could really give you a tremendous edge over the other agents who aren't doing this research.
You have literally warmed my heart and shown how much experience you have. And that's the whole crux of this conversation, right? So it's about aggregating information, using it to your advantage, competitively speaking, right? Idona, is it okay if we hit off the recording for a minute? I just want to give an
Yeah,
example of
give me
something I
one
did.
second.